Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 273 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. Today we are talking about step 6 of the spiritual IDEANCE process. Spiritual being because that's what we're focusing on this month. All this month we're doing something to think about the spiritual area and aspects of our life. And however you define that, we get to define that for ourselves on day 1. Because guess what? We get to decide what everything means and create our own life and create our own reality. Step 6 of the process, excuse me, is to celebrate. C for celebrate. And by celebrate, what do we mean? Well, and how often? How do you like to celebrate things? And I think as humans, we tend to just run through our life sometimes and forget to take a pause, take a deep breath, acknowledge how far we've come, and even celebrate some of the lessons learned. I think that it's important. One of the things that I like to celebrate every year now is what I call my death day. I'm thinking about calling it my survivor day since I'm still here. But it's been 15 years now, and I think I've celebrated that more, and not ambitiously, with more excitement and more gratitude than my actual birthday, right? I just was born, and that had more to do with my mom and things probably than it did with me. But my death day is something that I chose to come back from. And it's a long story. We won't go into it here. If you want to know, just ask me. Ask me anything you want. And I will answer. I promise I will answer. So today, our task and our daily action item is to come up with ways and what we'll celebrate. In order to decide what to celebrate, sometimes you can just randomly say, okay, today I'm going to take a day to do something that you enjoy, or I am going to go out to a restaurant, or I am going to spend time with people I love and care about. Whatever it is for you that makes you feel good and reinforces the thing that you want to celebrate. And like I said, I like to celebrate some of the biggest lessons that I've learned and biggest mistakes I've overcome so that I don't repeat those mistakes, right? It's pretty easy to fall into some bad habits and bad traps that we set for ourselves, by the way, when we want to procrastinate or stall, or whether we're afraid or whatever it is that's blocking us and stopping us from actually going full force toward what it is that we want. So today, and that's what the IDEANCE process helps us do, right? It helps us to set either a goal or think about a challenge in each area and aspect of our life, and then say, okay, here's my process for dealing with that. What am I going to do? Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6, step 7, to create what it is that we want. So this month, spiritual health and well-being, I am working on my connection to my higher power and source. So I joined a group. I joined another group yesterday because I'm like, okay, I want to join a couple groups and get a few different perspectives on this so that I'm not locking myself into tunnel vision. Because again, as human beings, it's really easy to follow one thing and then just go down that path, not really ever questioning whether that's the right path for us or not. I've done that in a lot of different businesses and industries in my life. I've gotten involved in them because it sounded good, but I didn't consider all the aspects of it and me, the type of person I am, the type of person I want to show up in the world as, and found out, the hard way down the road that those weren't the right jobs for me, the right businesses for me, the right people to align with for me. And so I like to celebrate when I actually have an epiphany that I need to do something different. So for example, when I finally realized and said, hey, I have got to listen to 3 areas and aspects of my life and my personality and my persona and my identity in order to make the right decision for me going forward. And it means my head, my heart, and my intuition have to all be aligned, and I have to get a yes on all 3 of those before I do something. Now, for a lot of years, I didn't do that, and I made a lot of mistakes. And so now I like to celebrate when I actually realize, oh my gosh, I have to bring all of me to whatever it is that I'm doing. All right, so how will you celebrate? What will you celebrate? I like to have a list on my refrigerator that has a bunch of different things that make me feel good. And then when I decide, hey, it's time to celebrate, because I like to do it at different intervals. I don't just say, okay, once a year I'm going to celebrate on New Year's Eve that I had a great year or that I didn't, or I had lessons learned or whatever. I like to do random things. And when my energy says, hey, you need a recharge, I like to just pick one thing on my list and then do that thing. So maybe for me, that's how celebration and motivation works. I want to be rewarding myself and celebrating at different random times. Now, other things I need to actually work into my schedule. If I'm going to travel, I have to actually plan that ahead of time. And that's going to be my celebration. But if that's my celebration, then I have to build that in and have to change other things around, right, in our lives to make that work. Some things I don't have to. So how will you celebrate? When will you celebrate? Why will you celebrate? What will you celebrate? Share in the comments below so we can learn from one another. I love it when we comment and share because then we learn from one another and we get to know and see things that we wouldn't even have thought of that end up being some of the things we love to do the most and some of the ways we like to celebrate the most, but we hadn't even imagined that we would do that. I went for a balloon ride once as a celebration. I wouldn't have thought of it if I didn't have a friend. My cousin actually owned a balloon. So a hot air balloon I'm talking about, not just riding on a balloon. That was weird. All right. If I can help you anyway with this, hit me up and ask. If you're struggling with, well, I don't feel like I deserve to celebrate, let's talk about that and knock that out of the park once and for all. All right. Have an amazing day. And I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.